Because the more you brand yourself, the more you market yourself, the more familiarity you're building to the marketplace. And the more familiar you are, the more you will close. There's a direct correlation to the people who know you and hear from you often to the money you make. Good morning and welcome to another episode of Mindset Monday. Wow, I love these sessions just because it really allows me to internalize all the lessons, all the painful moments, all the moments I celebrate throughout the week, and just continue to reflect on my growth. And I hope that you're able to get the same thing as well. Let's go ahead and say hello to everyone that's with us right now. Rudy, good morning. Claudia, good morning. Hector, Caroline, Julio, good morning to you all. Now, today I want to talk about clarity and how we tend to use words like, I don't know what I want. I'm not clear about where I'm going with this particular, whatever you're doing, your particular job or your particular career. And I know I've done that a few times, not only with the brokerage, but I've also done it with my coaching programs, right? I don't know where I'm going. I don't see the big picture. And, these types of words, that there might be some validity to all this. There might be, when we look at it from a bigger picture, the macro, as Gary Vee would say, it's hard to really see where we're going, right? Because we're just going through the motions sometimes. We're just taking the actions and we don't see the big picture of where it's going to end or how it's going to end. And, I just want to go ahead and back this up with the story that happened this weekend. And then I'm going to get into the actual elements of what I want for you to be able to obtain from this Mindset Monday. So I've talked to you, or I've told you about what's happened with my eldest daughter, right? She's on a very competitive volleyball team. And she got changed positions, which made her really question herself if she was good enough, right? Just because she was a starting player as a setter and for the last 4 years. And this year, they needed a back row, so she was moved to the back. So when anything happens like that, we tend to question ourselves, am I good enough? And that's what was going on with Abigail. She just wasn't all clear. She wasn't clear about her abilities within the realm of volleyball. And it really started to showcase on her confidence. I remember one game specifically where she normally is at the front of the line to greet the other players, right, from the opposing team. They go out and give themselves high fives as hey, we're about to compete. It's a good way to like meet the other team. So they do that on every game. And I caught Abigail being towards the back. This was at the precise moment that she was told she was going to be in a different position. I saw her demeanor, her face, a little bit less confident. This is someone that, was excelling at an elite level last year. She was getting known at that position. So all of a sudden, her confidence goes from, I know exactly what I'm doing, to I don't have much confidence at all. It's a new position. It's something that takes a lot of reps in order to perfect. So she was down. She was questioning herself. And oftentimes we do that in our own business, right? When we question ourselves, especially when we're used to working with buyers and we try to take on listings, we overcomplicate it when it's essentially the same thing. It's still the game of real estate. At the end of the day, it's still the game of volleyball. And you got to love every aspect of it, right? The marketing aspect of it, the sales, the listing side of it, the fulfillment aspect of it, the appraisal process, the inspection process. It's all the same when you really look at it from a bigger picture. And that's one of the things that Abigail had to understand, that at the end of the day, she has to love the game of volleyball and everything that it comes along with it. You just can't love one aspect of it and wish that everything else was based on that aspect. She got a little comfortable. Well, she was completely thrown off her comfort zone this year, and I'm glad she did. And like I said before, at first I was looking at the coach like, what are you doing? You're not using her to her best of her abilities. Now I know she's using her exactly where she needs to use her, because at the end of the day, Abigail's an athlete. She is fast. She is mobile. She can adapt to the different positions. This is only making her better. So after a few weeks of some turmoil, loss of confidence, she kept showing up doing the reps. Last week alone, we probably had outside of practice, where they usually have 8 to 9 hours of practice with their team. Her and I practiced an additional 4 to 5 hours that same week. And little sister came along with us. And she was getting better and better and better. Now, as you may know, she was coming off the bench. She wasn't a starter. Something happened this weekend. She became that starter. She grew her confidence and realized that although there wasn't a clear picture with her volleyball, right, with the position she had, she just had to go through the reps in order to make herself better overall. She is now a starter in that position. And again, this is her first year in that position. But she put in a lot of hard work. She put in so many hours beyond what was required. I'm going to say that again. She put on way more hours than what was required. Everything that she did was behind the scenes as well. Her and I would go to the local gym, and I would throw her the balls. I would hit them towards her very hard. I would try to, challenge her by making her put her back to me, and then I would throw the ball in a location, and she would have to react fast so we can work on those fast twitch muscles. So we were doing all these things, and then there's the ultimate payoff. It didn't happen over the first week or the second. We're 7 weeks into this game. 7 weeks. But oftentimes we quit before we get that clarity of we just have to take the steps that are required. In addition to that, we have to go above and beyond in a competitive market. It's very competitive in volleyball, just like it is in real estate. There's 40,000 other agents vying for your business. There's 40,000 other agents that are posting themselves on social media, that are following up with their clients, the sphere. But those that go above and beyond will always excel. If you choose to go above and beyond and brand yourself, and we've been talking a lot about branding. I want your face and your name on everything. It's got to be the forefront of your actions. Don't focus so much on the money aspect of it, or feel like your real estate career in general has to have a clear path. What I want you to do instead is focus on branding you, on marketing you. You got to be able to love that process at least. But if you're so focused about the grand plan of your business, about how you're going to build a team, about how you're going to, break through and sell 20 million, those are still hundreds, if not thousands of steps away. Right now, it's about the micro, the macro and the micro, right? The micro is, what are you supposed to do today for your branding? Because the more you brand yourself, the more you market yourself, the more familiarity you're building to the marketplace. And the more familiar you are, the more you will close. There's a direct correlation to the people who know you and hear from you often to the money you make. And there's also a familiarity of the more you do it, the more confident you become. The more Abigail did it, the more confident she became. She is now a starter. But that does not mean she's arrived. She knows that there's somebody there vying for her position. There's your friend, the realtor, is also vying for your position. So you can't get comfortable. You can't always play nice. You got to make sure you understand this is still a competition. You still have to put food on the table. You still have to grow a profitable business. But that's what it comes down to. She went after it. And when you go after it and commit to simply the game of marketing, honing on your skill sets, listening to the right authors that are putting this out to you, or influencers that are putting this out to you, and just simply take the things that resonate with you and then put it out there as your own, you'll realize how far you can actually get in this game. But oftentimes we're caught up in this place of, I'm not clear about what I want. And trust me, I've been very guilty of that. As I've started out my coaching program with Do the Work, and before that it was Rekindle. Rekindle Power was our coaching program 4 years ago. I had no idea this was going to morph into what it is today. All I did was focus on the actions. But you know what kept slowing me down? Every time I told myself I didn't know what I wanted from my business. Every time I kept on telling myself I'm not clear about what I want. That is the thing that slowed me down. And every time I looked at the competition and saw them moving at a fast pace, I also would slow down my progression. Because all I would do is infiltrate my mind with, I'm not clear. I don't know. Little did I realize that was the detriment of my business. I would kill the momentum every time I would use those words. I don't have a clear picture. And I know some of you have used it as well. Trust me, I've used it 1,000 times. I'm not clear about what I want, but yet we forget one important thing. We forget one important aspect of all this. You're here. You're selling real estate. So you are clear. Some of you are making $200,000, $300,000, $400,000. So you are clear. The reason we use words I'm not clear is because we don't have the results we desire, whether it is making the 6 figures or more. And that's where I fell into that. As I was building this brokerage, I don't know what I want, but yet I would continue to take the actions towards the brokerage. And I would face the pains. And I would grow and then take what it felt like 5 steps back. Only to realize those weren't actually 5 steps back. And I challenged myself that there is no taking a step back when you're moving forward. It may feel like it, but they're all lessons to get to the next level. And constantly changing is part of the business. But if you don't embrace the change of what you need to do with your marketing, guess what? In the last 4 or 5 years, it's completely changed. A simple post may have gotten you a lot of outcomes, a lot of results. A simple post, a simple picture. Now the game has changed. Now we got to be on different social media platforms, what appears like all day long, in order for us to get recognized. So we don't drown out with the other thousands of individuals that are trying to do the same, if not millions. What used to work back then may not be the case now, but if you're hating the process because of it's changed, it's not because you're not clear, it's because you're unwilling to do the work. And guess what? The game now is like you got to do live videos. You got to do videos, period. You got to be able to reach out to your clients 5 to 6 times a month. Not like back in my day, once was sufficient enough. Once every 2 months. So understanding that the game is always going to change, but you cannot tell yourself, I'm not clear just because it happens to change. You're clear. You got your license. That's pretty clear to me. You're selling real estate. What can be more clear than that? You're making 6 figures plus. That's pretty clear to me. Challenge yourself that every time you say, I don't know what I really want, that you're just avoiding the work. You're avoiding the change. And here's the thing. We got to do things to help keep us in line with the actions we are taking. And when you get to a point where you say, I'm not clear, it's because there is lack of celebration for what you have accomplished. Just look where you're at. Look where you were 6 months ago. I promise you, you're in a better place today. So although it may appear that you may not be 100% clear, guess what? I'm gonna let you in on something. You're never gonna be 100% clear about what you want. Like, I didn't know I was gonna create this when I left corporate America. I had no idea. I just kept on taking the actions, and the right opportunities presented themselves. The right people came into my life, the right mentors. I had no idea. Because back then I was thinking I'm going to rise the corporate ladder, and I'm sure glad I wasn't very, very clear about that, even though at the time I knew I was. But because life changes and your job is to adapt to it, that does not mean you're not clear. Again, look who you used to be and who you are today. You're closing deals. You're very clear. You have a business today. Just think about it. Before you got into this industry, did you ever see yourself as a business owner? As an entrepreneur, where the vast majority of Americans would love to do what you're doing? Where you had the I didn't want to go down that road, where you had the capacity to really, and the trust within yourself to take this first step. They say that 80% of individuals would love to own their own business, but only a fraction actually do. You're part of that fraction. Don't tell me you're not clear. Don't tell yourself you're not clear. You know the picture is very clear. And here's the thing. When there is not appreciation on a constant level for yourself, you're then wanting to be someone else. If you find more appreciation on someone else than yourself, you're never going to be clear, because that is their game and not yours. That's where a lot of those conversations happen. After we compare ourselves to someone else. And here's the thing. I don't want you to lose yourself just on the simple game of trying to make money. I don't want you to lose yourself. I want you to incorporate your passions with your brand. What is it that you love to do? Because there are thousands of individuals that probably like the same thing you do. But if you just come at this game and you approach it with just trying to make money, you're going to lose. You're going to have less clarity. And you will say things like, I don't know what I want, or I'm not clear about where I'm going. What is it? Any extracurricular activities? What is it? Showcase that. Speak from what you know. That is the best way to realize that you're on the right path. Here's one of the things that, as I was feeling down about that 4 years ago, as we were trying to build our coaching program, where we're starting finally to see some traction. And I remember those days. It was hard because I didn't see the results right away. And that's what I was more upset about. It wasn't that I wasn't clear. I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to coach. I wanted to empower people. I wanted to feel that fire every single day. But because the results weren't there financially, I often use those words, I don't know what I want, or I'm not clear about how to build this. I'm going to tell you something. You're very clear about what the next steps you need to take for your business. And listen, building a team is probably in that step, but it's probably a couple hundred steps away. What you have to do is hone in to what makes you different from everyone else. How do you talk to people? How do you fulfill? How do you market? Learn to appreciate those aspects, because those same aspects are going to take you to the next level. At the end of the day, it's about continuing to do what you're doing. The actions you take on a daily. And not necessarily what you think your business should be. Because you'll be surprised. Sometimes that right turn that you didn't expect was very much necessary for you to find your stride. I never had a vision for this, of owning a brokerage. I never had a vision for leading a group, 100 plus badass agents. Never had a vision for that. But I'm glad I kept on learning from the mistakes that I made, only to realize that would be the fuel for our continued growth today. Little did I know that. But it's this self-talk that we have to really focus on. No more can you really say, I don't have a clear path. You're in this game. That's pretty damn clear to me. You're making money. That's clear. So don't sabotage your growth by trying to see a picture that's not painted yet. There's only one clear picture, and that is, what actions are you going to take today? And you know what to do. And it starts with marketing. Starts with reaching out. Starts with your branding. So I love this game because I face it on a consistent basis. And guess what? I'm going to let you in on something. We're starting to see momentum in all aspects, right? Within the brokerage, with Do the Work coaching. But I really don't know what the end game is. And that's what makes it fun. I really don't. But at the moment I start thinking, that I don't know, that's when it really just sabotages me. And I stop enjoying the ride. So get out there, guys. Like, this is the time for you to do the reps. And are you negative self-talking by saying, I'm not clear about what I truly want, when you're better than you were 6 months ago? Your world's away than who you were 5 years ago. Think about that. Where were you 5 years ago? I'm going to tell you something. If you've been here for at least 6 months, you're in a much better place today. Period. So celebrate that. Because you know exactly where you're going. Let me go ahead and get some, who do we have this morning? What are you guys hearing from this conversation about clarity and the self-talk? Good morning, Dora Lee. Rio, good morning, my brother. Isela, Felix, Cindy, Beatrice, good morning. What are you guys hearing from this conversation? It's a simple thought process, and guess what? I mean, if we're not celebrating our accomplishments, it's really hard to really focus that we do know on where we're going. We're more likely to say, I don't have a clear picture. And trust me, this thing will creep up every time you take on a new venture. But you know exactly where you're going. I want you all to really focus on your marketing strategies this week. Like, really dominate and overwhelm not only your client base, but the competition. The more action you take, the more likely others will shrink. Sounds pretty harsh. We want everyone to succeed. Just make sure you're there. Not because everyone deserves it. You're just willing to take the actions. And the more actions you take, the more confident you become, and the more market share you will obtain. Self-doubt can totally sabotage your mind and momentum. It really can. So let's avoid those words today. I don't know. Or I'm not clear. You're very clear. You're in this game and you're in this brokerage. That's pretty damn clear to me. I love it. Top of the morning, Badass Agents. What's going on, Jeanette? Gabe, I hear that you need to keep the focus of marketing as an individual and create the image we want our clients to know and like. One thing about this is, like, you're not going to love every aspect of the real estate game. I had a call from an agent yesterday about how the cooperating agent was just being very condescending. We're going to run into individuals like that. Understand that. Your job is to be able to lead. And because you've learned so much about yourself, you're going to realize it has nothing to do with you or your skill sets or your mindset. It has everything to do with the lack of things that the other person is doing. They're frustrated. Things are not going their way. Their business is not growing. You just happen to be the target because, well, you were meant to lead. They need to see somebody else in power and maybe realize that their ways are the reason why they're not successful. That's exactly what I told the agent that I was talking to yesterday. As he's telling me, hey, this other agent's throwing me off my game, AZ. She's making me question myself. Like, I can't even connect at home. She's being very condescending. Well, everything that I thought was the case was exactly the case. That lady's been in the game since 1999, and guess what? She's only sold 3 homes in the last, 12 months. I'd be frustrated too. I would be very condescending as well. There's a lot of negative self-talk going on there. Listen, success is not only about sales, and I'm not even trying to allude to that. But when you're very open to just spewing out negativity, you're refusing to take responsibility for yourself. And that's exactly what the other person was doing. Guys, I want to thank you for joining me for another episode of Mindset Monday, and I will talk to you soon. Have a great day.